Welcome to the 19th week after Pentecost. It is Monday, September the 30th, 2024. This is the Manna at the Tap podcast, where we as a community actively seek the spiritual nourishment our souls crave. The daily lectionary reading we explore together is the manna designed to nurture our spiritual growth and provide the sustenance our soul needs. I'm Gloria, your fellow traveler on this spiritual journey, and together we offer and receive insights and interpretations from these readings, enriching our spiritual lives. Mordecai, Esther's guardian, discovered a plot to assassinate the king. He told Esther, who relayed the message to the king. The men who were the king's bodyguards were executed. Nothing was done to reward Mordecai except to record the acts in the book of the annals in the presence of the king. After this, we meet Haman, the Agagite, and he was unjustly promoted and given a seat of honor more than any of the other nobles. Everyone at the king's gate was to kneel and pay honor to him, but Mordecai would not kneel or pay homage to Haman, even though he was breaking the law. The servants of the palace wanted to know why Mordecai would not bow. He told them he was a Jew. The frustrated servants told Haman about Mordecai's refusal to bow down, and Haman became enraged. Having learned that Mordecai was a Jew, instead of wanting to kill him, Haman plotted to destroy all the Jews throughout the whole kingdom. The lectionary reading is Esther chapter 4, verses 1 to 17. It is difficult for us today to imagine the fear and insecurity that would have plagued Queen Esther, chosen solely on her beauty and appeal to the king. When she was not summoned for 30 days, she did not know if the king had found someone more pleasing or if she was merely losing her influence. Whether at Mordecai's bidding, by force of evil officials, or by her own choice, Esther had entered the king's beauty contest, and she won. Mordecai's sources informed Esther that the Jewish people were scheduled for extinction by the wicked Haman, a self-promoter who had elevated himself to vice-regent, second only to the monarch, King Xerxes. Both the Jews and Persians were confused by the king's orders. Mordecai tore his clothes in the traditional Middle Eastern way of mourning, putting on sackcloth and ashes, and going through the city, wailing with a loud and bitter cry. He was only allowed to come to the gate of the palace. That is where he stopped and stayed, because he was not appropriately wearing the dress code of the palace. Along with Mordecai, Jews throughout the kingdom were mourning, fasting, weeping, and wailing. When Esther heard what was happening, she sent clothes for Mordecai to put on instead of sackcloth, but he refused. Faced with a desperate survival challenge for herself and her people, Esther pondered Mordecai's question to her. Who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this? Three principles were embodied in Mordecai's advice. Number one, no place of privilege can ever exempt a person from responsibility to respond to God's call. Number two, although a situation may look hopeless, God is never hopeless. And number three, a God-given opportunity is the privilege an individual receives. Esther then courageously formulated her plan to help her people, even if it meant the real possibility that she might be killed in the effort. She prepared herself physically and spiritually, as evidenced by fasting. She instructed Mordecai to gather all the Jews in Susa and have them fast for her. She also fasted with her attendants, and when that time was over, she decided to go to the king, even though it was against the law. She told Mordecai, "And if I perish, I perish." Esther's response is revealed in several ways. It is saturated with humility and piety. She makes no assumptions that she's going to accomplish the mission single-handedly. Her reference to fasting acknowledges that she relies on others and maybe God for success. Her words tell of her courage and bravery. Mordecai had instructed her not to reveal her identity, but now she was willing to identify with the Jewish people. The fate of the Jews is now as much hers as Mordecai's. She is the general with the battle plan, and we see the role reversal. Mordecai went away and did everything as Esther had ordered him.